Welcome to the TCM Teach Podcast, the business podcast designed exclusively for acupuncturists and Chinese medicine herbalists who are ready to build thriving, sustainable businesses. I'm Sabey Smith, licensed acupuncturist, herbalist, professor, coach, entrepreneur, and I've spent years helping practitioners like you not only master their clinical skills, but also build practices that truly thrive. Today we're talking about something that can completely transform your business, shifting your identity from just a practitioner to the CEO of your practice. The shift isn't about losing your healer's heart, it's about stepping into leadership so your business can truly support you and your patients. So let's get started right after my disclaimer. Please remember, I'm simply a practitioner here to support you. I'm here to support you on your journey. The information shared in this podcast is intended for educational and learning purposes only. It should not be taken as professional, legal, or financial advice. For guidance specific to your business, please consult with the appropriate licensed professional. Thank you. So why identity matters in business? If you only see yourself as a clinician, you'll always be stuck trading time for money. And when this happened to me, I really took a step back to think about that. Can I trade my time for money forever, for the rest of my life? For some people, that's going to be yes. For some people, that's going to be no. For some people, there's going to be a mix of the two. The beauty of acupuncture, it can be a lifelong profession. With that said, it doesn't mean you can't have other revenue happening in the background. So what makes the difference between a clinician and a CEO? One is working in a business, one is running a business. The CEO identifies you and makes you think bigger. You focus on strategy, systems, teams, and an overarching mission. A clinician focuses on the patients, and then they leave. A CEO leads a business and a company. There's no reason you can't be both, but at the end of the day, you're running the business. When you embody both healer and CEO, your practice can become sustainable if you're running your own business. So with that in mind, let's dive into some of the key points that I wrote down for today's conversation. Practitioner versus CEO identity. Practitioners focus on patient care, sessions, and day-to-day tasks. So in a day, it'll be focused on things that are pretty straightforward. Paperwork, maybe checking inventory, maybe. But generally, clinicians go in to treat patients and then they leave. Come in, see an X amount of patients, make sure the treatment plans are looking good, make sure all the paperwork is looking good, all notes are taken care of, making sure that the payments have been taken either to the practitioner or the secretary at the desk, whatever it may be. That's day-to-day clinician practitioner life. CEOs have to focus more on the leadership. How do I lead a team? What is the vision that we are maintaining as a business, as a company? What systems can we implement or put in place to make this happen more effectively, to help more people? And what is the long-term growth that can be created for this business? How do we create better revenue year to year to help more people, to help the clinic get to where it needs to go, to help the business get to where it needs to go, to help as many people as possible? That's the CEO identity. If you're running your own business, you need both roles. There's no question about it. They just require very different mindsets. One is solely patient-focused and one is business-focused. You can be both. You just have to wear different hats. Let me talk about some common identity blocks here. There's a lot of clinicians who own businesses that say they don't want to be businessy. They don't want to sound businessy or salesy. It's not about that. It's about helping patients. By running a better business, you can help patients more effectively. and you can help more of them. So that is a common identity block that I've actually seen a lot. Another common identity block. If I step into CEO mode, I'll lose touch with my patients. That's not necessarily true. You can still practice as the chief executive officer. You can still be present in the clinic and practice. You can actually nurture relationships even deeper if you want to, because you can listen to feedback from patients and take their advice and implement it in your clinic. So that breaks that one down. I just want to treat. I'm not cut out for business. You can still treat as a CEO. If you really want nothing to do with business, go work for someone else. But you're going to have more time. You're going to have more freedom. You're going to have a much easier ability to make the revenue goals you want, maybe even take more time off. There's business owners who work 24/7, and then there's business owners who have good goals, good boundaries. Be the CEO who has good goals, good boundaries, with a vision, with a mission, with an understanding of leadership and team building. That's where you want to go. That's where you want to get to. The consequence of having these identity blocks is it can lead to burnout. You can be stuck in a scarcity mindset all the time. That can result in inconsistent income. And then there's a lack of growth in the company. You're literally choking the tree before it can grow. You don't want to do that. You want to give your business time to be nurtured, to then serve you later. So what are some of the elements of a CEO identity? You want to be a visionary. You want to set the direction for your practice. If you want to specialize, I recommend it. Go for it. Specialize. If you pictured the biggest impact that your business could have, what would that be? That's your vision. What are you trying to accomplish? If you had your ideal scenario in the world with your business, what would that be? That's your vision. That's you acting as a visionary. Next, you want to be strategic. You want to make decisions based on goals, not fear. You need to make pricing decisions based on your goals. You don't want to be discounting yourself or cutting yourself short with fear of losing clientele. Charge your value, charge your worth. We've talked about that in previous episodes from now. Make sure you are concrete with that because you need to be strategic about it. You want to have boundaries. Protect your time and your energy. Here's a phenomenon that is always fascinating to me. At the beginning of any business, people will trade time for money. People who are struggling for money will trade time for money as much as they can to get as much money as they can. Ultra successful, wealthy people will trade money for time. Okay? Find a happy medium between the two. At the end of the day, you want to have your health. You want to have your freedom. You want to be maintaining your vision for the business. But what is that vision of your personal life? That should be your non-negotiable. And how do you make that happen? How do you get there? Boundaries are a huge way to cultivate that. Establish your boundaries, keep them that way. Do not compromise. Next, you want to be empowered. You want to be charging and leading with confidence, especially if you're leading other practitioners. Clinicians want someone to look up to. If they feel like you have a good direction and clarity with the business and you're strategic and you're a visionary, you're going to be a fantastic leader. And don't worry, these can be learned skills. People don't just wake up one day and become these things. These can be learned as a business develops. Be empowered. Don't be a victim. If things are hard, learn from them, move forward. Always act in an empowered state. Be collaborative. Open up opportunities for creating support systems. Create teams. They don't even have to be in your business. Create an accountability group. Create some type of content to help other practitioners that you charge for or whatever. Like, you can make money off it, or you can just do good work. You can join your state board. You can teach at a school. There's so many things you can do to be collaborative, to work with other practitioners, maybe practitioners even in other fields. I can't stress enough how strategic partnerships like that can be so valuable long term. As long as the partnership is serving you. If the partnership is a sacrifice and not serving you, that's not collaborative. Collaborative is about working together. So make sure you can build support systems and teams that make that happen. So what is the perspective shift that we need to have here? We want to go from I'm just providing treatments to I'm building a healing business that changes lives. Same themes we've been talking about in the last several episodes. We're just making small tweaks in our statements and our mindset to shift from now we're shifting, instead of talking about money alone, we're talking about shifting from just clinician to CEO. Acting like a business owner who's a visionary, who's strategic, with clarity, has a direction, and can push forward. Shift from business feels separate from healing to business is part of how I serve. By building a successful business, reaching more people, you can help more people. Plain and simple. Go from I need to do it all myself to I can lead and delegate. The leadership positions I've had in other jobs or even in my own clinic, lead and delegate. You can always delegate responsibility. They might need some training, but once someone is trained, they can take the reins so you can focus on the bigger mission and vision at hand. So let's talk about some strategies to step into a CEO identity. Schedule CEO time weekly to strategize, to plan, to implement systems. Take a step back and look at the big picture. So if you have a strategy, how can you make it better? When you're planning things out, do you have goals that are sustainable, measurable, time-bound, reasonable? Make sure that you can plan things out accordingly. Are there systems that could be improved? Is there something in the clinic that's just not efficient, or in the business that's just not efficient? How can we make it more efficient? Now, especially in the world of AI can absolutely be leveraged for time. Something you would want to put into your business is an ethics plan. I highly recommend putting in an ethics plan, making sure that your ethics align with your mission and vision. This can make or break companies. When things get hard, do they stick to their mission and vision? What are their ethics statements? What are their ethics? So, in the event AI could take over a job, do you fire someone and have AI to do it? Or do you keep someone on staff where they can actually do more, maybe utilizing AI, for example? This is a big shift happening in society where more and more businesses are leveraging artificial intelligence. There's no reason you can't do the same, but there also doesn't have to be like mass layoffs at the same time. So keep that in mind. Whatever your ethics are, be concrete with them. Do not waver from them, especially when it comes to your mission and your vision. Okay, next. Revisit and define your vision regularly. Your vision may change. It may develop over time. The vision you had 3 years ago, 2 years ago, a month ago could be different. One conversation, one interaction with someone could change your whole trajectory if you're open to it. Don't waver with your vision. Only make sure your vision aligns with what you're trying to do in your life. What are you here for? Why not let your business be a part of that happening? If you revisit and define your vision regularly, you're just moving forward with your goals. If you think you can help more people, or maybe you should be more specific, do it. Put it on your website. Treat business decisions as healing tools. They create stability and freedom. Business decisions can be hard because sometimes as business owners, we may want to hang on to something because it's comfortable. I actually had a track coach in college who said, be comfortable with being uncomfortable. When I was in school, I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Be comfortable, being uncomfortable. Like, where'd you read that? Some dumb poster or something? Yet, here I am, way past college, way past grad school, actively teaching doctorate students. And I still think about that stupid quote. Learn how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because the more and more I dive into business, into interactions with people, there's always a form of discomfort, but with practice, it becomes more comfortable. You enter this state of, well, I know what this feeling is. I know what this can be, but I also know I have control of how I act through it, and I can move forward with it. So in the end, the more difficult decisions we can make in business, the more we can handle and ultimately create more stability and freedom within the business for people who work for us and for ourselves. Invest, invest, invest in your coaching, your mentorship, your education, software that supports leadership, books. I am a huge fan of books, audiobooks. Whatever can give me more learning is something I highly recommend investing in. It's amazing how much value you can get in a book that cost you $15, $20, whatever it may be. It's like a whole education in page form. It's like revolutionary right now in the world of AI. It's like books are so valuable. I can't stress enough how valuable those are. And then we've talked about this in previous episodes. Find someone who can push you. Find someone who can help you. Doesn't have to be me and my coaching. Find someone who can help you. Maybe there's a practitioner you worked for in the past. Maybe you had a favorite professor, whatever it is. Find someone to look up to or who can help be your teammate to push you forward. So what are some practical exercises we can use here? Write down 3 tasks that you do as a practitioner versus 3 tasks that are more what a CEO would do. You can create a CEO hour each week dedicated only to business growth. A CEO hour, be the visionary, be strategic. How far can your mind expand? Play a little bit. Play with being CEO. Picture a big company. It might just be you right now. Pretend you have 100 employees running a huge franchise. What does that look like? Just play with it. It doesn't have to be serious. It doesn't have to be nose to the grindstone all the time. It's okay to have fun. That's how you maintain your creativity and also move forward with your clarity. Journal. You've heard me say journal a lot. What would the CEO version of me decide in this situation? So you're going to run into difficult situations running any business. If you're dealing with a situation, start writing it out. What would the CEO version of me do in this situation? And if it has to do with a patient or if it has to do with an employee, don't think like a clinician. What would the chief executive officer version of me do in this situation? Sometimes that's what it takes to make the hard decisions. But as long as they lead to more stability and business growth and freedom, then it's worth it to find that clarity. Visualize your future practice. How does the CEO version of you operate? This is going back to things we've talked about, like your lifestyle. What's your ideal lifestyle look like long term? What can we extrapolate from that and put in to visualize our future practice or future business, whatever it may be? So putting this into practice, protect your CEO role by blocking time in your calendar. Even if it's 1 hour in a week, this is my CEO hour. Whatever that looks like, make it happen. Make it something that I like to call a non-negotiable. So when I'm talking and teaching, lecturing with my students in Chinese medicine school, I like to talk about establishing non-negotiables as a clinician or even as a business owner, depending what class I'm teaching. For example, non-negotiables like whatever recharges you, meditation, yoga, exercise. Non-negotiables like family time, or maybe you love to cook, so you have to cook dinner, or you have to cook lunch or breakfast, whatever it may be, or you have to go for a hike once a week. Establish non-negotiables. Just make your CEO hour a non-negotiable, and then it's not even a question when scheduling comes up. If you're a calendar person, just put it in your calendar. And if someone asks if you're around, I'm sorry, I'm actually booked at that time. Next, speak about your practice as a business, not just a clinic. You should always speak about your practice as a business. The clinic is just part of it. It might be the part you focus on the most right now, but as you develop over time, as you develop your skills, as you maybe develop products or courses or whatever, that's a business. Be that visionary. Talk about it. Be excited about it. No one's going to care as much as you. Make them care too. Make one CEO level decision this week. Start small. It could be about pricing, a change in your policy, maybe your cancellation policy. That can be one that people get tripped up on a lot. I always have the cancellation policy of, well, if you schedule less than 24 hours, then you're getting charged X amount for the session. Or you can have, I've heard like a 3-strike rule, for example. First strike is 25%. Second strike is 50% of what you paid. Third strike is 75%. Fourth strike, 100%. And you have to go find another clinic. Don't let people cancel on you and take advantage of you. It's not fun. I had lived that road before. It doesn't feel good on any side. Don't let it happen. Delegate. Can you delegate any responsibilities? Could you delegate insurance billing? Could you delegate accounting? Could you delegate some marketing? Whatever it may be, find a way to delegate. And then vision. Is there some CEO level decision you can make about your vision? Is there something you just don't agree with in your business or feels icky or doesn't feel right? Why? Write it down. Talk it out. Record yourself talking about it if you have to. Record a video of you talking about it even and analyze your body language after. It might sound silly, but these things really make a difference. Or look at yourself in the mirror as you're talking it out. What does it look like? Is your body language upright, excited, positive, or are you kind of down in the dumps, shoulders slumped? And we all know what this means as practitioners when we're doing diagnoses. So we really want to think about what is a way we could improve that vision of where we're going. And that can go back to what goals have we established that we can move forward with. So I'm going to leave you with this. Shifting into the CEO mindset, or the identity, doesn't mean leaving behind your healing. It's actually quite the opposite. It means expanding your role so that you can lead, grow, and sustain a practice that serves both you and your patients. I've created a resource called the Practitioner to CEO Identity Shift Map. So that's something that's going to help identify where you're still operating just as a practitioner, and it can help guide you towards CEO level habits and decisions. Be sure to check it out inside the membership, as it can be a really great resource or a way to at least get started. In our next episode, we're going to be diving into understanding ROI in a healing business. So until then, be well, and thanks for tuning in to the TCM Teach Podcast. 谢谢。